Are you on the verge of burnout and exhaustion from your career? Maybe you love what you do, but are lacking peer support and professional connections. Then you need to come to the 2-day Social Connections Virtual Summit happening September 25th and September 26th. This 2-day social wellness and relationship building summit is unlike any other you've ever seen. When you join the Social Connection Summit, your professional relationships are going to transform. You will be inspired by our dynamic speakers who will be sharing actionable steps to help you set boundaries to prevent burnout, schedule your time effectively, restore your emotional and physical health, and so much more. You will have ample opportunities to connect with your peers, develop new relationships, and even forge friendships with our curated networking sessions. And there's more. For those of you who want extra support and personalized guidance towards reaching your goals, you may book a complimentary one-on-one coaching session with a world-class coach of your choice. Don't miss the Social Connections Virtual Summit September 25th and September 26th. Get your tickets at patternsofpossibility.com/events. Early bird ticket sales end soon, so get yours today. Go to patternsofpossibility.com/events. That's patternsofpossibility.com/events. Hey, what's going on? My name is Coach Lee Hopkins. My pronouns are he, him, his, and you're listening to the Patterns of Possibility podcast. This is a podcast dedicated to helping you replace harmful patterns with new possibilities. In each episode, we'll explore topics that inspire you to be yourself, live your truth, and make lasting connections. In this episode, we're going to talk about the 3 steps towards making friends. The 3 steps that I teach in my program, you're going to hear right now: self-awareness, communication, and discernment. We're going to talk about those 3 elements that are going to guide you to making those meaningful, deep connections that I continuously talk about here on this podcast. Are you ready? Let's go. Okay, I'm about to spill a secret sauce. I'm going to give you all right here, just all of it. Well, I'm going to give you a big framework to work within so that you can learn more about how to make those connections that you're looking for out there that really mean something, that can grow with you, that can learn with you, that can appreciate you, that can accept you. Today, I want to share these 3 things: self-awareness, communication, discernment. Without those 3 things, you're going to wander around the world frustrated that people aren't understanding you, they're not connecting with you, they're not talking to you, and they don't really know you. You're going to be very, very frustrated, as I was for many decades, out there just spinning around, wondering why, what's wrong with me. It seems like everybody else is making friends. I see people on TV. TV is just a reference that I have, of course, because there were shows like Living Single, Martin, their friends, and all these wholesome, loving shows where groups of friends were hanging out with each other. And all of the TV shows, they had the family, and then they had the family who had friends. Everybody in the family had some friends or something like that. And I'm like, I don't have that. What's going on with me? And if you're feeling that way too, then these are the things that I've discovered that have helped me understand more about how to make those connections. I want to share them with you today. So let's talk about them, right? Self-awareness. Self-awareness is the first thing. So these go in order. You have to know these things in order. And self-awareness, you've heard it before. People say that they're self-aware and they know stuff about themselves. And I don't know. I used to think that I was a bit self-aware too, but there's so much more to learn about you. You're like an infinite being who knows what they don't know. There's so many things to know about yourself and how you move in the world, your preferences, your likes, your dislikes, your loves, your hell no's, those things. And in what situations do you feel those feelings arise? So when it comes to self-awareness, you have to understand more about not just your hobbies, not just about those things that are fun and exciting to you, but generally how you feel. In every situation, it's very important to understand how you feel. Where are you? Who you're talking to? What are they saying to you? What are you feeling in every moment? That's self-awareness to me. Understanding that piece is going to help you far more than anything else people have suggested to you. You may have heard someone say, just go out, just go meet people, just put yourself out there, stop, go. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't go out there. If you don't know what you want, if you don't know what you're looking for, then it's not worth your time and effort to go out there. Everything you need is inside of you. Everything you need is in front of the mirror. Look in front of the mirror. It's in that person that is looking right back at you, right? So self-awareness is understanding more about how you feel in all situations. And to do that, to gain that kind of skill, what I recommend that you do is journal. This journaling is having a conversation with yourself, your past self. And the key to journaling is not just writing down the experience that you had. Writing how you felt about the experience too is very important. But also the key piece that we often miss, it's really important to get it out of our body and have it there, but we also need to go back to it. That's where the conversation with you happens, where you go back and you look at this experience that you had and you recognize how you felt in that experience and check and see, well, is this happening again? Or have I grown? What are my preferences? What are my likes now? If I were back in that day, or we're back in that time and I had an awful experience, what do I need? What do I need? What would I have needed? You might know the answer today, whereas a few years ago, or even a few weeks ago, or a few months ago, you wouldn't have known the answer. And you keep that with you and you become more self-aware of what it is that you're looking for, right? So that is step one. If you don't know where you're going, don't go anywhere. Sit down, do some meditation, try a bunch of things, figure out how you feel about your experience. So when I say try a bunch of things, I mean, this is where you start learning more about your hobbies and things that are fun and interesting to you, because that's a big piece of it. Be aware of you, how you're going to behave. So self-awareness is key. Step one, don't go anywhere. Don't do anything without it. All right. Got it. Number 2 is communication. Now, once you become aware of how you feel, in what situations, what you like, what you dislike, what your hell no's are, you got to be able to communicate that to people. I tell you what, I used to go out into the world believing that people could read my mind, that they know what they did. You know what you did. You know why I'm not talking to you anymore. You know you did it on purpose. Communication. Lack of communication was my whole thing. I didn't know how to express. And a lot of that, not knowing how to express, I can directly attribute to not knowing how I felt. So that self-awareness piece returns again, but not knowing how I felt about anything. I couldn't even convey it. I didn't know what my feelings were, and I didn't know how to express my feelings. And I learned that people aren't mind readers, and you'll probably learn that too if you try to have people read your mind, or you try to drop subtle signals and hints and so forth. You know what? People don't have the same point of view. They don't grow up with the same belief systems as you do. They don't know what a frown means, or no contact or no communication. They don't know what a raised eyebrow means. They don't know what a snicker means. They don't know when you cross your arms what that means to them. It could mean what it means to you. It could mean something completely different to them. Your wires are crossed. There's a miscommunication, but we do have an agreement on how to communicate, and that is with the language that we are using. The words that I'm saying to you make the same impact. They have the same connotation, or they carry the same meaning of what I'm saying. We all agree that's what I mean. We all agree that the words that I say mean the thing that I say. But even then, if I say it in a different tone, or if I use body language or something along those lines, it might impact you in a completely different way than I intended. So being aware of how you feel and being able to communicate that to another person is where we step into the language of boundaries. We learn what it is that we like, what we don't like, and we share that with other people. And the mindset of sharing this with other people is that they're going to get to know us better. And what scares a lot of people about this piece in communication is that even though you say something clear, kind, and concise like what I teach, people are still going to laugh at you. People are still going to misunderstand. People are still going to disrespect you. Just because you communicate what's going on with you doesn't mean that people are going to accept it or completely understand it. And that could be frustrating. That can be really frustrating. But still, you need to get that communication piece in there, because if you get really good at it, you're going to learn that you've communicated to the best of your abilities, clearly, kindly, concisely. You were on top of it. These are my preferences. This is how I feel. You share that with somebody and you watch how they respond. That's the key. People who understand you, they're going to get those words and they're going to receive that information, right? And then you can connect with them. And this is where the third piece comes in. This is where the third one, discernment, comes in. Discernment really means that you can choose, or you can tell who is really understanding you, really trying, really knows what you're about. When you go out there and you speak to people clearly, kindly, and concisely, you tell them what's going on with them, with you. You tell them what's going on with you and how you feel, what you're looking for. Some people may not know how to communicate. They may not be self-aware. They may play tricks, or they may do things that just don't impact you in a way that you like. And with discernment, you're able to tell who those people are based on what you share with them, based on how they respond to you. And if you're not aware of what you want and what you're looking for, you'll just be like, I don't know who to trust. I don't know who's out there. I don't know who's going to understand or appreciate me. I can't trust anybody. Well, that's because you haven't honed that skill of discernment, of checking to see whether or not they can meet your standards. And if you're not self-aware, you don't have any standards. You don't know what it is that you're looking for. You'll just look at everything and think that all the people are just alike. All the people aren't alike. It's just the people that you keep running into. It's just the people that you keep hanging out with, because you haven't chosen to remove them. You haven't figured out what exactly it is, or what exactly their behaviors are that you don't want in your life, or the behaviors that you want in your life, the things that you want people to do, that what you exactly, that you see, right, is exactly what you're looking for. People are going to show you, right? And you need to know what you're looking at. Discernment. Choose whether or not this is the kind of person I want close to me, and this is the kind of person that can stay far, far, far away from me. I don't want those kind of people in my life because they do XYZ behaviors, or they say XYZ things, or they hang out in XYZ places, and I don't do those things. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just that you have different values. It's not good or bad to reject people. Essentially, that's what we do when we discern. Like, we accept some people because we have the capacity for them. We like them. They accept us. And we reject those people who don't have the capacity. And it's not a bad thing, as I was saying before. It's very necessary. Just imagine you being a really intelligent person who always wants to talk about science, the moon and the stars, and astrology. I think this was called astrology. No, that's the signs, I think. But astronomy, astronomy is the one. You want to talk about those things, and you want to talk about all the equations, and you want to look at the heavens, and you want to buy a telescope, and you just want to be out there going on camping trips and looking at the stars, and that's all you want to do. And you run into somebody who doesn't want to do those things at all. He's not interested in it all. Think it's stupid, doesn't understand the language and all that. You use your discernment and just be like, look, you're not the kind of person that I want to hang out with. And that's a really easy one. But what if they were a person who is into science, but just not your science? They have overlapping qualities. They have qualities that you like about them, overlapping hobbies in some way, and use your discernment to decide what things you're going to do with this person and what things you won't do with this person. Discernment is a very, very powerful skill. It'll keep you from getting hurt. It'll keep you from believing in a person and trusting them to do something that they never were going to do. Their actions and behaviors never showed you that they were going to do any of this kind of stuff. You just imagined and you made it up, right? So discernment, very powerful piece. So with that said, let's recap this. If you're out there and you want to make friends, you want to connect with people authentically, deeply, self-awareness is key. Step 1, don't go anywhere unless you know what you're looking for. Step 2, communication. After you figure out what you're looking for, talk to people about it. Tell people what you don't want. Tell people what you do want. See how they respond. And there's some people that are going to move close to you and you just be like, well, you're not quite the person I want. Use that discernment. You're not quite the person that I want, or you are quite the person that I want. I like what you're doing, and these are the reasons why you mesh with me. We match. I want to encourage you to go out there and do something, all right? You got this. Monday, August 12th at 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Don't miss this. It's Elevate Your Social Circle. It's a free presentation on getting actionable steps to create meaningful relationships. That's right. This is a free live presentation where you will discover the difference between being alone and lonely, because there is a huge difference and one is very healthy for you. Also, you got to learn to identify those disconnecting behaviors in your relationships. So if you're wondering if you're doing something wrong, if you could do something different, or if it's them, you're going to learn that in this presentation. And I promise you'll get practical strategies to break out of the cycle of loneliness. Where you're going around trying to connect with people who just don't vibe with you and you're not sure why. I'm going to give you some actionable, practical steps to break out of that cycle of loneliness. The next presentation is Monday, August 12th at 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Monday, August 12th at 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Register today. Space is limited as this is a complimentary event. First come, first serve. Go to the link in the show notes to register today, or go to patternsofpossibility.com/events for more information. Now it's time for your listener letters. If you have burning questions about your friendships and your platonic relationships with your coworkers and so forth, let me know. Write me at patternsofpossibility@gmail.com and I might just read your letter out loud. My best friend is very controlling. I am a 22-year-old female, and I've known this person, who is also 22 and a female, since my childhood. And we're really good friends. We were really good friends back in school, but then we drifted apart. A couple of years ago, she came back and became the most valued person in my life. She's really nice. She treats me like her family, stands up for me. She's willing to give and do everything and anything for me. But the point is, she's controlling, very controlling and dominating. She decides what is right and what is wrong and how I should do things. And if I don't do things the way she wants me to do, she gets mad. For example, if I don't reply to her immediately, she thinks I'm disrespecting her. Last night, she texted me something and I saw it, but I was very exhausted and drained, so I didn't want to reply at that time. And I thought, I'll talk when I can properly reply, but she got mad. I struggle with depression and I take antidepressants, and she's very well aware of it. She cheered me up when I used to feel low, but when I tell her I can't meet because I'm exhausted mentally and physically, she doesn't take it very nicely. I'm an introvert and I can't meet people very often, but she gets mad if I don't meet with her every week. She makes me realize how she's always there when I needed her. On my birthday, she gave me a watch, and my pet is very hyper, so while playing with him, I got a few scratches on my watch. My friend saw the watch, and she started talking to me very rudely and got furious. She started giving me all kinds of ish, like how much of an irresponsible person I am and how I don't value things. I apologized for this earlier, but, well, she was rude and asked me to throw the watch. I walked away. I handed over the watch and I walked away. Still, I can't decide whether I'm a horrible friend or she's actually toxic. She's a beautiful person when she cares for people, but she's dominating. I always feel anxious when I'm having conversations with her because I don't know when and why she'll get mad. It's draining, but she's also the one who puts in most efforts. I would really value your input. Do you think I'm doing something wrong, or is she actually toxic? Oh, well, this is a really great question. I love this question um, because I love all the questions that I pick. But of course, it really is confusing to be in this dynamic. It's like this person does all the things to show you that they care about you, that they're interested in your well-being, that they support you. You said that she's very nice. She treats you like family. She stands up for you. She understands that you have depression and some other that you take antidepressants, and sometimes you may need a break for your mental and physical exhaustion. And she says, "Hey, I understand that." But on the other hand, she's like, "I want things the way I want them. I want you to do what I want you to do because look at what I do for you." It's tit for tat. That's what I'm thinking on my side. From my point of view, it's tit for tat. She wants you to do what she wants you to do, and it doesn't feel great. And as much as she cares, or she shows that she cares for you, there's something wrong here. There's something a bit disconnecting and confusing about the situation, because if she cared for you, she really, really deeply cared for you. She really, really understood and appreciated you as the person that you are. She would also accept the fact that you sometimes don't want to get out of bed, or don't want to leave your house, or don't want to answer your phone. It seems like she wants absolute control over you. And it feels like you're obligated to do those things. It seems like from your end, you may believe that you're obligated to do those things for her because look, she's putting in the most effort. Nobody else is doing what she does, and that makes her absolutely amazing. And we have this natural desire as humans to want to reciprocate the love and respect that we believe we're getting. And it just absolutely comes out. If you've never read this book called Persuasive, I think it's called Persuasive by Robert Cialdini. Yeah, Robert Cialdini. If you've never read that book, I highly recommend you pick it up. It's actually a sales book, and they talk about the 6 things that will get people to be persuaded by the things that you do. And one of the things that people do is give to get. Like, I give you something, and some people expect you to do the thing in return or do something in return. But also, if I give you something, if I give you my time, my attention, my energy, a physical gift, then you will want to reciprocate that, because that's just part of the human thing that we do. We're like, I want to give back. I want to give back. And so she's giving you all of the nice things, but there's a price. She's not just giving it to you just because she cares about you. And you would know this is true because of the way you feel about receiving her attention, her gifts. You say that you feel anxious about being in her presence because you know that she's going to get mad, but you don't know why or when it's going to happen. That is not my version of love. And it's important to pay attention to how you feel about that, how you feel around the people that you're with. So I imagine you may know the answer by what I've just said here, but I'm going to say that your friend is toxic. But I'm going to say it with a caveat, because not just one person is toxic. It's the dynamic. It's the dynamic of the relationship. It's the connection that you have that's toxic. And when I define toxic people or toxic things, it's something that you'd want to change. It's simply something that I want to change. I want to change this person's behavior. I want my friend's behavior to change because I don't like it. The way they're treating me or the way I feel around them doesn't feel good, and I want to change it. And so there's that toxic dynamic. And when it becomes more toxic when you decide that you are going to make an effort to change it without talking about it. Like a conversation with this person, everything that you wrote here is something that you would share with your friend. And I think about it, they're your best friend. And you said that they control you, but you have autonomy. No one controls you. You control yourself. And if you had this conversation with her, it's probably, if you're listening to this, you'll be like, oh my God, that's scary. I don't even know what she's going to say. She says she blows up for the most ridiculous things. And if I tell her about how I really feel about her, she's going to explode. It's probably giving you anxiety just hearing that. I get it. I feel you. That's why we don't have these kind of conversations, because we don't know what to say. We don't know how to handle those people's reactions or what's going on with them. And we're like, oh, we might ruin the relationship too. But what if your relationship changed for the better? What if you no longer felt anxious about being with this person? What if they actually heard you and realized that they were hurting you? Because that's essentially what's happening. They're hurting you. You're feeling hurt. You're feeling anxious. And I don't know about anybody else out there listening, but my friends don't cause anxiety. I'm not anxious talking to them about things that are happening in my life. I'm not anxious about talking to them about their behaviors. In fact, my friends want to know. They want to know how I'm impacting them, because deep down in their heart of hearts, it is not their desire to hurt me. It's not their desire to cause anxiety. Their desire is to really bring me joy, to do the other things, to be there for me, to respect me, to support me, to understand that I can't get out of bed today and I need something that's not yelling at me, or I would appreciate some grace. They know that. I would say that your friend, dear person who wrote, that they know you too. Your friends would know you too and know what you need from them. And if you aren't telling them, if you're afraid to tell them, then what kind of a relationship do you really have? Is it a friendship? Now for the second question, am I doing something wrong? I would say that the thing that's missing from healing your friendship is talking. Everything that you wrote here, say to your friend. I know I already said that earlier, but if you want the thing to change, they have to have the awareness of how they're impacting you. And you also have to be okay with what comes out of it. You may not be friends anymore. And that's okay. There are 8 billion people in this world. There are people who are out there that will understand, appreciate, and accept you as you are. And they won't hold things against you. They won't. Hey, Patterns of Possibility fam. If you'd like a little more guidance and hands-on support, then I've got great news. You can hire me as your own personal coach. Go to patternsofpossibility.com/coaching to apply for individual or group coaching. In this 12-week program, I'm going to help you make the meaningful connections that you deserve. After this coaching program, I promise you'll be able to do 3 things. 1, you'll be able to clearly identify who belongs in your tribe and who doesn't. Say goodbye to those people who are wishy-washy, you're unsure of. No, you will know for certain whether or not they deserve to be in the same space with you. And second, you are going to know that your thoughts and feelings are valid and worth expressing. So if you do have feelings about your friends not holding up boundaries or not holding up space for you or not meeting your needs, then you are not going to shy away from telling them. You will be able to communicate your boundaries in a clear, concise manner and advocate for yourself in your relationships. And finally, you are going to learn how to start and stop conversations with strangers and steer them towards topics that are interesting and important to you. I don't know about you, but I don't have weeks, months, years to discover whether or not me and my new friend have compatible values. If you know what you're looking for, you can discover if you're compatible in just a few conversations. If all this sounds good to you and you're ready to make those meaningful connections, go to patternsofpossibility.com/coaching to find out more information. Again, go to patternsofpossibility.com/coaching to find out more information. I look forward to working with you. Hey, thank you so much for listening. If you like this podcast, share with someone who you think could benefit from this information and follow me on social media. You can find me at Patterns of Possibility on all social media. And I go live on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. You can catch me and learn more about these social connections and interact with other people who are looking for the meaningful connections, who share the same kind of stories, and be in community. And don't forget to sign up for my newsletter at patternsofpossibility.com, where you will get actionable steps delivered to your mailbox every week. Thanks again for listening. Until next time, take care.